Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Willow Smith, the daughter of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, posted a photo of herself with tears streaming down her cheeks and a caption that read, "Who ate all the PUSS?" Yeah. Now, as some of you may know, Willow has openly talked about her being bisexual and engaging in polyamory. That's the practice of engaging in multiple romantic partners at the same time. That photo left a lot of people on X concerned about Willow. They were going in on Will and Jada, talking about how horrible parents they are, questioning their parenting skills. They were saying that Willow needed help, check on her. And then this prompted Willow to do a follow-up video and say, y'all slow as molasses. It's a such thing as being funny. So apparently all is well with Willow Smith. She was just having a moment of humor. All is well with Willow Smith. Now here's the thing. On my watch, there will be no Willow Smith slander. That's right, I said it. There will be no Willow Smith slander. Willow hasn't had a lot of opportunity to have a private life and actually just be a regular child. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey, that's what comes with having superstar parents. True. But at the same time, fam, she's still a human being, right? So you gotta give her grace, and not just her, but all these other kids of famous parents. You gotta give these kids grace, man. The pressure that society put on these kids is overwhelming. Most of the people who put pressure on these youngsters who have celebrity parents, they couldn't stand that same pressure themselves. They couldn't stand it. You gotta give them grace. Some of these kids have been driven to suicide. Bullied to suicide, bullied by the public. Yeah. Now, the thing is that Willow Smith, or even her brother, Jada, they didn't ask to be thrust into celebrity. They were born into it. So it's kind of like, how you got to give a little grace to dudes who, grow up in a neighborhood where they're surrounded by gangs. At some point you got to be held accountable for your own actions, right? Absolutely. But damn, man, if a youngster grew up in a gang, he had no control. He couldn't pick his parents. He didn't pick where he could live. He didn't have that choice. This is where he was brought, right? And he growing up in a household right in the middle of gangland. You got gangs next door, gangs across the street, gangs on the next street, the whole neighborhood. More than likely, he's going to be in a gang. Just like if you grew up in a neighborhood where there's no gangs, more than likely, you're not going to be in a gang. How often does that occur when somebody grows up in a neighborhood where there's no gang activity whatsoever, and then all of a sudden, years later, somebody say, yeah, Bryce, he's in a gang. What? What do you mean gang? How the hell did that happen? Right? Likewise, you grew up in a gang area, and somebody say, yeah, such and such is getting his doctorate. How the hell did that happen? Grew up in a gang neighborhood. right? So what I'm saying is that we're all kind of, we're products of our environment, right? We're products of our environment. Willow Smith, I think, has been doing the best she can with the hand that she's been dealt. And so far, she's managed to keep herself out of a lot of slanderous stuff that go on, and a lot of the mess that's involved with, celebrities. She's managed to do a pretty good job with that. So even if Willow had chosen to crash out, even if it was real and she had crashed out, I would give Willow Smith grace, just because how she's carried herself with grace for so many years. And that girl's been under a lot of pressure. I remember when she dropped that song that Whip My Hair or something like that. It was Whip something, Whip My Hair. You know what I'm talking about. And then she kind of just went cold. I was like, what's going on? I'm thinking, okay, she's the next big thing, like in music. She could have been that, right? And she kind of just, fell back. She didn't take advantage of that momentum. She kind of just fell back and, she kind of went dark. So trying to figure out, I'm like, she seems like the type of girl who does not clamor attention like so many do, all day, every day. Everybody, look at me, look at me, look at me. She don't come across as that type of person to me. She comes across as the type of person who is very much in tune with who she is as a person, as a human being. And she seems very genuine, very authentic to me. And that's why I said, no Willow Smith slander will be made on my watch. There will be no Willow Smith slander on my watch. None whatsoever. Willow, I think is, and here's another thing, she's extremely, God, man, that girl is talented. I'm talking about talented. It's like she can do whatever she want to do. She can dance, she sing, she can act, she play guitar. The girl is dope. She can pretty much write her own ticket to doing whatever she want to do. And yeah, she got an early look as a child star, as a kid from famous parents that gave her an edge. But it's just like with O'Shea Jr. when he got the role playing Ice Cube in the movie Straight Outta Compton. By him being born into it, he obviously is going to have an edge on everybody else. He has an advantage because he's Ice Cube's son. But he still had to deliver. Because I'm going to tell you something about Cube. Cube would give you a chance, but you still going to have to go in there and audition. You're still going to have to be able to knock it out the park. So he'll tell you, hey man, we got the auditions, come on out, man, and he gonna be there ready for you. He gonna give you a shot. But it's gonna be up to you to knock it out the park. It's gonna be up to you to perform once you get there. And he made his son perform. And I know for a fact, I put that on my mama. If O'Shea Jr. could not deliver, somebody else would have been playing Ice Cube. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.